Good evening and welcome to this regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of North Perth. Our meeting date is Monday, May 26, 2025. I'm Mayor Todd Kasenberg and I'll call this meeting to order. I ask the clerk to note the starting time for the minutes as 7:03 p.m. A warm welcome and greetings is extended to councillors, staff, delegations, and observers who will participate in this meeting, regardless of whether they are in the council chambers in Listowel or being connected by web technologies. We begin tonight's meeting with the playing of O Canada. Those in chambers as able are invited to stand. We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe peoples. We wish to recognize the long history of Indigenous peoples in Canada and show our respect to them today. We recognize their stewardship of the land. May we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship. Tonight's meeting is being streamed live on the Municipality of North Perth YouTube channel and will be available there after this meeting as an archived video. To those viewing this meeting via the YouTube channel, a warm welcome to you. To those present in the gallery today, by attending a public meeting of the Council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Anyone who is invited to speak will be recorded, and their voice, image, and comments will form part of the live stream. The chair and/or the clerk have the discretion and authority at any time to direct the termination or interruption of live streaming. Such direction will only be given in exceptional circumstances when deemed relevant. Circumstances may include instances where the content of debate is considered misleading, defamatory, or potentially inappropriate to be published. Attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and/or unacceptable behavior and/or comments. Thank you. At this time, I invite your decorum over the course of the coming meeting. I have regrets tonight from Councillor Anstead. Let us move to item 5 of our agenda pertaining to pecuniary interest. Members of council have full lives with engagement in the community. Sometimes they may find themselves with a potential financial or pecuniary interest in an item at the council table. Provincial legislation mandates councillors to declare this interest and, in so doing, avoid direct involvement in the consideration or voting on the item. I invite all councillors with a perceived pecuniary interest, including those who have already so declared in writing, to verbally advise the chair in public session. Documentation is to be provided, if not already done, pursuant to council procedures. Councillors may declare now or at any point in the meeting should such interest be recognized. Colleagues, I have not seen anything in advance of tonight's meeting. Does anyone have a declaration they wish to make? Councillor Andreessen.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. public and staff. Through you, Mayor Kiesenberg, I will be declaring pecuniary interest on item 11.3 regarding the Listowel Agricultural Society's request for a noise bylaw exemption during the fair. The reason for this declaration is due to the fact that my husband is a director on the board at the Listowel Agricultural Society. I will also withdraw from participating in the confirmatory bylaw, which is 17.1. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Andreessen. Anyone else wishing to make a declaration at this time? I'm not seeing it. As chair of this meeting, I will manage the flow of proceedings tonight, largely in accord with our agenda and the rules of procedure. Some may be participating remotely by web conference. Should they wish to speak, they may draw the attention of the clerk to this through the conferencing technology's text chat function. If technical difficulties arise for remote participants, we do have our IT specialist on duty tonight, and we'll let you know and see if we can get you some help. Let us now focus on the people's business. Part of that focus is achieved when those in the chamber silence and put away their phones. Regarding item 6 of our agenda, I have a resolution for our consideration to approve tonight's agenda as follows: that the agenda for tonight's meeting be approved. Moved by Councillor Johnston, seconded by Councillor Norton. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's move on then to item 7 on our agenda, the so-called consent agenda. Consent items are placed on our agenda because they are believed to be non-contentious, yet they may warrant council's recognition and or action. Grouping them expedites our business. However, any councillor wishing to extract an item from the consent agenda for discussion, debate, and individual action may do so. There are 14 items on our consent agenda tonight, including the minutes of our last regular council meeting. Councillors, anything to extract here or any corrections to the minutes you'd like noted? Councillor Rothwell.
Thank you, Mayor Todd. Good evening, Council, members of staff, and public. Item 7.14, please. Municipality of West Perth resolution. Call for resumption of the property assessment cycle.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else with an extraction item? All right, as we usually do, my approach to this, let's have Councillor Rothwell up and we'll speak to it. 7.14.
Thanks very much, Mayor Todd. I believe that we've had conversations at this council table regarding concerns about the fact that our assessment cycle has not kept pace with the normal schedule. And as a result of that, there are issues in our taxation standpoint where assessed properties are not up to our current standard. Therefore, they're not the amount of tax dollars that would be coming into the municipality to operate our works for the municipality are not up to where they possibly should be in terms of the assessed values. So I believe it would be appropriate if council is willing to lend our support to the municipality of West Perth in the resolution and put that request through to Municipal Property Assessment Corporation to confirm that they will be proceeding as soon as possible regarding the newest assessment cycle. Thank you.
Thank you. This one caught my attention as I was preparing for the meeting today, and we sent some information, thanks to staff for their support, which I think should be noted here, and to our understanding perhaps. In the province's fall 2024 economic update, so going back into last fall, before the election, there was a statement in the economic update that read as follows: the province continues its review of the property assessment and taxation systems. To date, the province has identified 3 areas of priority through the consultation process: affordable rental housing, student housing, and information sharing. Province-wide property tax assessments will continue to be deferred until this work is complete. So, in other words, apparently in the fall economic statement, the province told us, not yet. We have some things to get done. And I just want to make sure the council is aware that that was the most recent provincial position that I understand anyway from staff. Deputy CAO Little, please.
Yes, good evening, Council, and to you, Mayor. Just to clarify, that was the synopsis from the MFOA on the fall economic statement. So basically stating that there were three priorities that the province was working on, and they needed to address those prior to moving forward with MPAC and the new tax assessment.
Okay, so there's some reason to believe that the province isn't ready to make the move yet. Councillor Rothwell.
Thanks very much, and thanks for the information. Just for council's understanding, the MPAC, the M is Municipal Property Assessment Corporation. It used to be called the Ontario Property Assessment Corporation. It was run by the province of Ontario. There was a change wherein all the municipalities in the province own the MPAC. So therefore, with respect, the province of Ontario can have various other issues that they want to focus on. Nevertheless, the prime focus of MPAC should be assessment. And all of the people assessors that are part of MPAC, their role and responsibility is to assess properties. So therefore, I would underline again the importance, as you've said, that we need to get back on track as soon as possible. And if not, for these three priorities that you've listed here and so on, it should be a number one priority in terms of what Property Assessment Corporation does. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rothwell. I think you're probably privy to my history of not being all that fond of MPAC and having raised various issues over the life of my political career to this date. So I'm appreciative of your comments. Yeah, it interests me, and I have certainly had this discussion with MPAC officials that it's really just a push of a button for them to generate the new property values for every residence, every business, every farm property in Ontario. There's no technical delay or lag, from what I'm been told by their officials. So it can be done, but I understand, and again, supported by staff, that they need the consent of the government of Ontario to actually do it. So this, and Ms. Little, please, if I'm missing something here, don't hesitate. This matter is very interesting, and certainly I would be supportive of a resolution that came from this council saying get on it. But just be aware that there appear to be a few um, um, things in our way, and it is the government that needs to give impact the blessing, I guess, of pushing the buttons. Okay. Yes, Councillor Blazek.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Kasenberg. And just in support of Helen's comments, the province may not be in a hurry to get us up to date with our assessments and make sure that municipalities are receiving the tax base that they should be, but they continue to download a lot of financial responsibilities to municipalities. And so I think that we should absolutely do our due diligence and at least have our voice be heard and support this resolution.
All right. I think I'm seeing enough indication that we need a resolution in support of the West Perth Council action and letter calling on the province to reinstate the impact assessment cycle and release the current assessments. I think that's largely what the letter says. So really, we're just sending a letter of support for the West Perth letter, which seems to have adequately framed the issue. And we would send a letter to the same suspects that they sent it to in the process. Is that fine, Councillor Rothwell? So moved by you, Councillor Blazek. I'm going to assume you're a happy seconder on this one. Any discussion or debate further? Clerk, we're with us, all right? Let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Any other extractions before we consider the general resolution for the consent agenda? Not seeing any indication of that, so I have a resolution as follows. The consent items 7.1 to 7.14 be received for information, and the minutes of the May 12th, 2025 regular council meeting be adopted. Moved by Councillor Richardson, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Boswick, thank you. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. All right, at this time, it's proposed that we move to agenda item number 8. Under this item, we consider delegations and public meeting opportunities. We will now receive a delegation from those with interest in our council's business or authority. And in fact, it's from our friends at Perth County. I remind the delegations that in accordance with this council's procedural bylaw, a usual time of 10 minutes per delegation is permitted, and that includes both presentation time and providing an opportunity for councilors to ask questions. I think tonight there's a little leeway, Rachel, given the topic and the subject matter being of importance to this council. But certainly, as always, I remind delegates that we maintain an atmosphere of respect and courtesy, and that those delegating should not use the names of those who have not consented to such use. With that, then, our first delegation tonight is from the team at Perth County responsible for the work of accessibility and compliance with accessibility standards established by the province of Ontario. This delegation by Rachel Cannon, who serves as Legislative Services Coordinator and Deputy Clerk of the County of Perth, brings to us the annual report on accessibility. We collaborate with the county on that report. Ms. Cannon, thank you for your team's efforts on behalf of Perth County's lower tier municipalities and this one in particular, and welcome to our meeting. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Just a quick sound check. Everyone can hear and see me okay?
We hear you very well.
Perfect. Okay. On behalf of the county, thank you very much through you, Mayor Kasenberg, and good evening, North Perth Council. I just want to note Jamie O'Leary is also online as well today. She's our legislative assistant from Perth County, so we both bring greetings from the county. As Mayor Kasenberg noted, tonight we're here to provide the joint accessibility update for the year 2024. Again, taking note of that joint word, that means all of the information has been collaborative with the lower tiers and the upper tiers. So we're reporting on all of that great information and initiatives that have happened on the accessibility portfolio over the last year. Next slide, please. Tonight, we're just going to do a quick presentation. Again, we're looking at 10 minutes, so in and out. We're going to review the legislation of why we're here. We're going to talk a little bit about what the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee was up to at the county in 2024. We're also going to talk about the accomplishments for 2024 in terms of accessibility, and then where we're headed in 2025 and beyond. And then we'll have a little bit of time at the end for questions. Jamie and I will be available to answer those to the best of our ability. Next slide. Okay, so just a reminder, the AODA does mandate that we have to have a accessibility plan that's created at least once every 5 years. You may recall that my colleague Tyler Sager and I toured around a couple years ago in 2023 with our sort of big update of that plan. Again, that's a joint accessibility plan on behalf of the lower tiers and the upper tier. Next slide, please. In the subsection of that legislation, we're mandated by the province to complete an annual update on behalf of the lower and upper tiers. So that's why we're here today, and you'll see us once a year completing this same roadshow with a little bit of different information. Again, all of the information is, all of the projects are designated through that lens of the accessibility plan. That was sort of the big whammy. That's where we did the public consultation. We worked with our JAC, all of our lower tiers. And the update is really just to provide an update on where we're headed moving forward with the plan. Next slide. Okay, I'm going to actually go ahead and throw it over to Jamie O'Leary. She is the legislative assistant here at Perth County, and she does work heavily on the accessibility portfolio here. So a big part of her role last year was actually assisting with the administration of the JAC, which is a provincially mandated committee. So she's just going to go ahead and provide a really quick overview of what the great work looked like from the committee members in 2024, just for your knowledge, there are a couple members that sit on the committee from the North Perth community with lived experience when it comes to accessibility. So Jamie, if you want to go ahead and just review what the committee worked on in 2024.
Thank you, Rachel. Through you, Mayor Kasenberg. So in 2024, the JAC, the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee, met 8 times for our regular 8 meetings that we have scheduled. We completed 12 site plan reviews, which we complete via a subcommittee that's made up of different members from the committee themselves, always intending to have one person who's actually from the lower tier that the site plan is based in. And then with those, we provide a written feedback report to the building department from each lower tier. We also, in 2024, we developed a working group, which is working to kind of assess and research the potential for a stopgap initiative throughout the county. This group is still in that information gathering phase at this point, but if anything progresses, I'm sure you'll hear from us on that as well. And then I did just want to note that today is the first day of National Accessibility Week. This is the federally recognized week that happens every year at the end of May. You may have noticed some graphics go out from Perth County today, and we actually had a letter that was created by our Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee just about the importance of National Accessibility Week and kind of acknowledging that. So that has been sent out to all of our media contacts. So we're hoping to see that in the coming days as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. Next slide. Okay, hopping right into the accomplishments. So at the county level, again, these are just sort of high level, not going to encompass everything that you see in that update before you tonight. We just really wanted to pull out sort of the big ones. At the county in 2024, in terms of accessibility, lots of progress being made. We actually fully remediated the Perth County website, which required lots of work in the back end to pull down content, remediate it, and put it back on. Everything that's on there now is WCAG 2.0 standard, and our provincial reporting is completed to let them know that we're good, we're compliant. We also saw a ton of progress happening at the 1 Huron renovation, 5 Huron. I'm not sure 100% what we're calling it, but that renovation, major progress in 2024. Quite a few accessibility features going into that, including an elevator. We've got different level counter heights, some power door openers, things like that. Archive has made significant progress on the digitization of some historic newspapers from different hamlets and villages all across our community. As they digitize those are being put in an online portal, which makes it more accessible to the public and for people who might need to access those with things like screen readers or other devices to assist them. And then finally, we provided a training session to county and lower tier staff about hosting accessible events and meetings. Next slide. Okay, moving into 2025, I know we are kind of already into the thick of it, but staff and departments, of course, are transitioning physically into that space now in that renovation. So Facilities in Public Works is working with staff to make sure that the space makes sense for everybody, that it is accessible, and that it's functional for people as we're moving in. Planning staff in 2025 is actually undertaking a pretty major update of their templates and forms to make them accessible for both the upper tier, so Perth County, but they're also helping to remediate the lower tier forms as well, just to make sure all those forms are accessible moving forward when they're being accessed online. Finally, we're looking at offering some additional training throughout 2025 for relevant accessibility topics. My colleague Jamie has actually already done one of those. Some of your staff might have attended. Her training was on creating accessible documents and remediating documents. And if you're interested in seeing a copy of that, she does have that available. I believe she'll be sending that out to the clerks in the next couple weeks. So if you'd like to take a peek at that, she will be sending that around. Next slide. Okay, what's going on in North Perth? So all of this information that you see on the next couple of slides has been very graciously provided and gathered by your staff. It was sort of a mix this year between Lindsay Klein and Sarah Carter. We went back and forth with both of them to get this done. So thank you to both of those staff members, and of course, any of the other staff members who touched a piece of it. In North Perth, your staff reported that the public library has launched a brand new collection of books that are enhanced by speakers. You also implemented a municipal website that adheres to WCAG 2.0 standards, just like we did at the county. Your transportation master plan was adopted by council, so that'll be familiar to you. That includes strategies for proposed policies, programs, and infrastructure investments. And then finally, your staff was reporting some really great work being done at local playgrounds to increase accessibility and sensory features. So some of the specific playgrounds they noted were Atwood, Listowel Memorial Park, and Wallace Optimist Park. They also mentioned that Ward Park subdivision playground has been underway, but I'm not sure how fully progressed it was by the end of 2024 and if they're still working on that. Next slide. So where are your staff and where's your community headed in 2025 when it comes to accessibility? Your staff has reported that they're continuing partnership to offer Lonely No More training for seniors and rural individuals, making that accessible to people and ensure that they feel included in your community. You're also completing a records management review, which will include strategies for digitizing paper records, making them much more accessible for your staff. In 2025, your fire station is looking to upgrade to an accessible washroom in the administration portion of the building, which includes power doors, emergency button, and handrails. And then finally, you're looking again at continuing to improve some of those rec centers and parks across your community. It looks like your staff noted Nickel and Hannah's Haven Parks and Elma Logan Recreation Center. So looks like some really great work being done by your staff in the coming year, which is great. Next slide. Okay, and with that being said, that is our time. We are available for questions. We'll do our best to answer any questions tonight. And if we don't have the answers for you, we're more than happy to take that away and do some research. Again, I just wanted to note that our Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee is a resource at the county. If any of your staff members or counselors would like to speak with them to understand lived experience when it comes to accessibility, they're always more than happy to provide their feedback and input on any sort of projects or anything that you've got going on in North Perth. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel and Jamie, for again all the work that has been done. Thank you to our team for the work of collecting the efforts that are being made in North Perth and reported in this report. Colleagues, any questions, first comments? Councillor Rothwell.
Thanks very much, Mayor Todd, and thanks very much, Rachel and Jamie, for the presentation. I'm just wondering, and for our staff as well, if the Memorial Arena Park, if it should be mentioned in 2024 update, or it will be in the 2025. We had a soft opening in 2024, and the official opening was in 2025. I'm just wondering where in the report we can anticipate that, whether it should be in the 2024 or whether we would be looking forward to in the 2025, given the fact that there is significant accessibility features within the Memorial Arena Park itself, including the play structure as well as the large table, which has accessibility features built in. Thank you.
Staff want to respond? I don't know whether that's to you, Rachel, or whether we should turn to North Perth staff on this. Do you have any comments, Clerk Carter?
Through you, Mayor Kiesenberg, with the grand opening happening in 2025, we could include it in the 2025 update.
Okay, so it's the intention of staff to report in 2025 on that one. All right, anyone else with questions or comments? We do have a resolution related to this that we should tackle before we adjourn for our public meetings as follows. That North Perth Council receives a Joint Accessibility Plan Annual Status Update 2024 report, and that North Perth Council approves the Joint Accessibility Plan Annual Status Update 2024. Moved by Councillor Rothman, seconded by Councillor Richardson. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Colleagues, I would be remiss if I didn't take note and mention the remarkable service over the years of a man named Dennis Maneri. Dennis was the chair of the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee of Perth County, which of course represents us as well, for many years, as long as I've been mayor. And it was my privilege to serve on that committee for a period of time under his leadership. He did retire recently. Health and change of residence location made that inevitable. But Mr. Maneri's long service to the county and to North Perth should be recognized at this hour. And I do so on behalf of our council and our staff. Rachel and Jamie, thank you again for attending tonight.
Have a great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our agenda indicates we will hold 3 public meetings pertaining to matters under the Planning Act related to zoning bylaw amendments. For the purpose of executing these public meetings, I use my discretion as head of council to announce a recess that will last the duration of the public meetings. This council is in recess. Let's turn to public meeting business. Good evening. Welcome to what is a public meeting under the Planning Act, dealing with applications that come under the Planning Act, pursuant to the Planning Act, for proposed amendment to the North Perth zoning bylaw. This is a statutory public meeting to deal with an application for zoning bylaw amendment number Z04-2025 by Van Harten Surveying, Inc., Jeff Buisman, on behalf of Doug and Karen McCourt, for property legally described as Concession 12, part of Lot 31 and 32, Elma Ward, municipally known as 5205 Line 71, in the municipality of North Perth. Correspondence, reports, and comments received regarding this application will be considered by council. Those in attendance wishing to make comment concerning this application will be given an opportunity to do so. Anyone wishing to appeal council's decision in this matter must make verbal submission during this public meeting or have made a written submission to council. Those wishing to receive notice of the decision regarding this application must notify the clerk via email, telephone, or by utilizing the public meeting sign-in sheet for this public meeting located at the back of the council chambers, giving their mailing address and telephone number. At this time, I'm going to call for a summary of this application. This will be offered by Nathan Garland, the planner for the County of Perth, who most commonly works on North Perth files. Mr. Garland, nice to see you tonight. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Kasenberg, members of North Perth Council. I am here to present application Z4 2025. For Council's consideration and reference, this is a surplus farm dwelling rezoning requirement. So this is a condition of the consent application that was previously passed at North Perth Council. The owners are Doug and Karen McCord. The applicant is Van Harten Surveying on behalf of Jeff Beasley. There's just no line of the subject property as a whole as it is currently. Just a site photo, just to give you a bit of reference on the property. So there is an existing house that's on the property, so that's one of the conditions of the surplus farm severance, as well as a shed. You'll notice a silo in the picture right there. There is a condition of the consent to remove that silo also. They just haven't got around to that. So this is the rezoning processes that we're currently going through. The report photo has been included that just shows the outline of the area to be rezoned, as well as the area, both areas to be rezoned. Including the area that will prohibit a house from being located on the the agricultural lands, and then allowing a house to occur on an undersized agricultural lot. Just to give you a severance sketch that was included with the application and the severance considerations. So the severed lands are approximately 72.4 acres. Those lands are proposed to be conveyed to a farmer that owns extra agricultural land in the surrounding areas. So they will be working it, they'll be selling it off, and there is a condition in the consent that that's been included in there. And the retained lands are approximately 1 hectare, which is 2.47 acres. Just for council's reference and consideration, this is a condition of consent B6 2025. The retained and severed lands are both rezoned. No comments or concerns have been expressed by any of the neighbors on this application or by any of the agencies involved. Therefore, it is staff's recommendation that North Perth Council approve. Sorry, this is not approved in principle. This is actually approved application ZN4 2025. I'm happy to address or answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Garland. Colleagues, questions or first comments on this one? All right, let's be sure that notice has been given. Any issues around notice that I should be aware of, that council should be aware of?
Through you, Mayor Kasenberg, notice was given in accordance with the Planning Act on May 6th.
On May 6th, thank you. And we haven't received any additional correspondence or, okay, thank you. So here's the opportunity in the public meeting to offer comments as follows. We go in order. Those in favor of this action, other than the applicant, now have the opportunity to speak. Do we have any who wish to avail themselves of that opportunity? Clerk Carter, we haven't heard of anybody. Okay, thank you. Those who are opposed to this action may also take the opportunity to address council in this public meeting. Anyone wishing to avail themselves of that opportunity? I'm not seeing any indication of that. There is the opportunity granted to the applicant or the agent to make comments directly to council at this point, should they so wish. Does anyone wish to take opportunity to do that?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm connecting in on the Teams Zoom meeting. I am Jeff Buseman, agent for this application. I'm assuming you can hear me okay.
We can. Yep.
Okay, when I hear you, it's a bit intermittent, so I occasionally miss a word or two, but that's fine. I'm following along just fine. Mr. Garland explained the application well, and I think it's quite straightforward. I'm really here to answer any questions. It's a pretty straightforward surplus farm residence severance, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any from the public or from council. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues, do you have any questions, concerns about this application that should be addressed during the session? Councillor Rothwell.
Thanks, Mayor Todd. Just one revision to the report. I'm just on page 2 of the report, Mr. Garland, or pardon me, page 2 of the report where it talks about the size of the parcel to be retained. If you could just correct that for the information, it says 0.41 hectares or 1 acre. So I believe it's 0.47. It should be 1 hectare, 2.47 acres. Thanks.
Thank you. Through the chair, in response to Councillor Rothwell's question, the applicant also caught that error as well too, so that is a correction. My apologies for not acknowledging that, but that is retained parcel would be 1 hectare, which is 2.47 acres.
Thank you. Anyone else on council with questions or comments? I'm not seeing any. The usual declaration. Notice of the decision of council will be given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Council's decision is subject to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. And with that, we can adjourn this public meeting. Let's turn to public meeting number 2 that we have tonight. Welcome to those who are attending for the purpose of public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act for a proposed amendment to the North Perth zoning bylaw. This is a statutory public meeting to deal with the application for zoning bylaw amendment number Z-05-125 by Spruce Cove Farms Limited on behalf of Paul and Esther Snyder for property legally described as Lot 26, Concession 6, Elmo Ward, municipally known as 7481 Road 154 in the municipality of North Perth. Correspondence, reports, and comments received regarding this application will be considered by council. Those in attendance wishing to make comment concerning this application will be given the opportunity to do so. Anyone wishing to appeal council's decision in this matter must make verbal submission during this public meeting or have made a written submission to council. Those wishing to receive notice of the decision regarding this application must notify the clerk via email, telephone, or by using the public meeting sign-in sheet for this public meeting located at the back of the council chambers, giving their mailing address and telephone number. This time I'm going to call for a summary of this application, again to be offered by Nathan Garland. He's a planner from the County of Perth. Mr. Garland, again, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor Kaysenberg and members of North Perth Council. I have a short presentation here on behalf of Z5 2025. The owners, as noted, are Paul and Esther Snyder, and the applicant is Spruce Cove Farms Limited. The location is Lot 26, Concession 6, Elmo Ward in North Perth, and the municipal address is 7481 Road 154. And the property line is just noted on your screen. So the request, and just for council's consideration, this is the rezoning that is up for consideration right now. There will be a future severance consideration further on in the agenda, so just it's a bit out of order, but it's just for consideration all at one time for council's consideration, so you see it once. So there is a house located on the property as well as 2 sheds. The applicants are requesting to sever off the house and 2 sheds and rezone the subject lands to allow for a house and sheds on a undersized lot, and then also to prohibit a house from being located on the agricultural lands. The agricultural lands will be transferred to Spruce Cove Farms Limited as a condition of the consent should it be approved by council. Just an outline of the subject property and lands. So the proposed lands to be severed are approximately 40.1 hectares or 99 acres. The lands to be considered to be retained are approximately 0.8 hectares or 1.97 acres. Those do also reflect the rezoning request to both allow for the house in the undersized agricultural lot and to prohibit a house from being on the severed lands in the future. So to note to council, this would be a request to consider as the consent application, should council support that consent application in the future. There has been no comments or concerns expressed by any of the neighbors or the agencies on this application. And so therefore it is staff's recommendation that North Perth Council consider approval in principle for zoning bylaw amendment ZN 5 2025. I'm happy to address or answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Garland. I just want to check in on notice of public meeting. Due notice has been granted.
Through you, Mayor Kiesenberg, notice of the public meeting was given in accordance with the Planning Act on May 6th.
May 6th, thank you. I think we heard that you had not received any correspondence or comments. Anything from either of you to change that story? All right, thank you. Let's then turn to the opportunity for those wishing to make comments. First, we call for those who are in favor, other than the applicant. If they wish to make a comment on this file, they may do so. Anyone wishing to do that? Not seeing anyone. Let's turn next then to the opportunity for those who are opposed to this application, if any. They may come forward to the microphone and share with council their opposition reasons. Anyone wishing to do that? I'm not seeing any. Next, we turn to the opportunity provided to the applicant or the applicant's agent. Does the applicant or the applicant's agent wish to take advantage of this opportunity to speak to the application? Okay, I'm not seeing any indication of that, so now we turn to the opportunity for council to ask questions and to speak regarding their positions on this application. Colleagues, any of you wishing to avail yourselves of that opportunity? I'm not seeing any expression of that. Mr. Garland stood up and then he gets to sit down again. Notice of the decision of council will be given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Council's decision is subject to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. And with that, this public meeting can be adjourned. Third verse, very much the same as the first two. I'm going to call to order a public meeting under the Planning Act. Welcome to those who are attending the public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act for proposed amendment to the North Perth zoning bylaw. This is a statutory public meeting to deal with an application for zoning a bylaw amendment number Z06-2025 by Dahan Veterinary Professional Corporation for property legally described as Concession 10, Part Lot 16, Elma Ward, municipally known as 5967 Perth Line 72, in the municipality of North Perth. Correspondence, reports, and comments received regarding this application will be considered by council. Those in attendance wishing to make comment concerning this application will be given the opportunity to do so. Anyone wishing to appeal council's decision in this matter must make verbal submission during this public meeting or have made a written submission to council. Those wishing to receive notice of a decision regarding this application must notify the clerk via email, telephone, or by using the public meeting sign-in sheet for this purpose located at the back of the council chambers, giving their mailing address and telephone number. At this time, I'm going to call for a summary of this application. Gee, this really does seem familiar, doesn't it? This will be offered by Nathan Garland from the County of Perth. Mr. Garland, third time up.
Thank you, Mayor Kiesenberg, members of North Perth Council. This is on behalf of ZN6 2025. Just for a correction here, and apologies for the slide, this is not a surplus farm dwelling consent application. So just for council's refresher, this is a separate application. So this was to remove a portion within the hamlet area from the agricultural parcel. So this was taking off that small residential area in the Hamlet area from the agricultural park. So the owners and applicant are the Han Veterinary and Professional Corporation, and the location is Part Lot 16, Concession 10, Elmo Ward. The municipal address is 5967 Perth Line 72. Just to outline a picture of the subject land. So the request is to rezone a portion of the lands from agricultural to Hamlet Village residential, and to also rezone a portion of the lands from Hamlet Village residential to agricultural. So it's a bit of a land swap or designation swap. I'll reference it that way. The approximate designation swap is so the inclusion of the Hamlet Village residential area moving into the Hamlet Village residential area is about 0.05 hectares, so well below half a hectare. And then the area moving from the Hamlet Village residential area into the agricultural area is 0.07 hectares. So there will be a net gain in the agricultural area of 0.02 hectares. So the agricultural land is adding some. Here's a picture of the subject land. Just to note, there was a condition also in the severance that the septic system be relocated entirely within the Hamlet Village residential area. So it previously was shifted in the agricultural area. So the applicant has relocated that entire septic system in the Hamlet Village residential area. So that's moved over now. So all of the services, all the functional components are now within that designation. Just for council's consideration and reference, that's the subject area that was severed and retained. Just shows the house and accessory structures. There were no barns or any other agricultural structures on the property. It was a house and some outbuildings. That's it, primarily. Just for council's considerations and notes, this was a condition of consent application B3024 that they rezoned the lands from Hamlet Village to agricultural and agricultural to Hamlet Village. So that's just that designation swap. No comments or concerns have been expressed by any of the agencies or surrounding neighbors on this application. There was some comments that came through the original consent application, but those comments were not reiterated. So therefore, it is staff's recommendation that North Perth Council approve zoning amendment Z6 2025, and I'm happy to address or answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Garland. Let's turn to the clerk. Have there been any items of correspondence, reports, etc., received that we should be aware of that Mr. Garland hasn't referenced?
No additional correspondence has been received.
Thank you. All right. So this is the opportunity for those who attended the public meeting for this purpose to offer comment. First, we'll call on those who are in favor, other than the applicant. If you wish to avail yourself of the opportunity to share with council your opinion, we'll be happy to hear it. Anyone wishing that? Okay, next we turn to those who are opposed to the application, if any. Anyone wishing to take the opportunity to address council in opposition to this application? Not seeing any. Let's turn next to the opportunity that's afforded to the applicant or the applicant's agent. If they wish to address council, they may do so on this matter. Not seeing anyone. Colleagues, any questions or comments at this point would be entertained. I'm not seeing anything from my colleagues either. So, a statutory notice as follows. Notice of decision of council will be given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Council's decision is subject to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal in accordance with provisions of the Planning Act. And with that, we can adjourn this public meeting. I am recalling from recess, council, to address items number 8.2, 8.3, and 8.4, for which we have resolutions pursuant to the public meetings that we have just held. So for item 8.2, I have a resolution that reads as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth receives the report dated May 26, 2025, entitled Zoning Bylaw Amendment Z 04-2025, prepared by planning staff, and that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth approves zoning bylaw amendment Z4-2025, submitted by Van Harten Surveying Inc. on behalf of Doug and Karen McCourt, affecting lands described as Concession 12, Part Lot 31, and Part Lot 32, Elma Ward, Municipality of North Perth, known as 5205, Line 71. And I call for a mover. Moved by Councillor Norham, seconded by Councillor Rothwell. Thank you. Any discussion or debate on this matter? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Now to 8.3. The resolution as follows, that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth receives the report dated May 26, 2025, submitted by the planning staff, and that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth approves in principle the zoning bylaw amendment Z05-2025 submitted on behalf of Paul and Esther Snyder, affecting lands described as Lot 26, Concession 6, Elma Ward, North Perth, 7481, Road 154. Can I call for move Councillor Duncan and seconded by Councillor Andreessen? Any discussion or debate on this one? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. And let's move to item 8.4. That the Municipality of North Perth Council receives a report dated May 26, 2025, entitled Zoning Bylaw Amendment Z06-2025, prepared by planning staff, and the Municipality of North Perth Council approves Zoning Bylaw Amendment Z06-2025, submitted by Dahan Veterinary Professional Corporation, affecting lands described as Concession 10, Part Lot 16, Elma Ward, Municipality of North Perth, municipally known as 5967 Perth Line 72. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kellum, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Andreessen. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Garland, as usual, for making our jobs pretty straightforward. We appreciate that. All right, let's move on to item 9 on our agenda. First, let us consider an item from the Development and Protective Services Department under item 9.1 of our agenda. Item 9.1.1 invites Council to grant an exemption from part lot control to DeConing Brothers Inc. for lands in the listable ward. This is usually done to allow lot line adjustments, including the creation of new lot lines in a parcel that has been developed. County of Perth Planner Nathan Garland is with us to explain and answer any questions. Mr. Garland?
Thank you very much, Peter Kasenberg, members of North Perth Council. I don't have a formal presentation done up for this application. Just for those who would be on council for longer than 10 years, you might have noted this application previously. So this is a renewal or another a request for an exemption of part lot control. The owners just didn't facilitate the transfer of the property, so they therefore elapsed when they went to transfer the lands to a new owner. So this was caught during the sales process. So they're requesting an exemption for part lot control. The location is currently built. It's fully serviced. It has been a deposited reference plan and does meet the zoning bylaws. So those are the two criteria for consideration. Staff are supportive of the application and happy to address or answer any questions at this time for council.
All right, thank you, Mr. Garland. Colleagues, questions or first comments? Seeing none, I have a resolution to the effect mentioned as follows, that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth approves application PLC 02-2025 submitted by DeConing Brothers Inc. for the exemption of part lot control on lands legally described as lots 29 and 30, Plan 44M27, List Award, Municipality of North Perth, and that the approved bylaw be returned to the Municipality of North Perth following delegated authority approval by the County of Perth to be registered on title. Moved by Councillor Rothwell, seconded by Councillor Blazek. Thank you. Any discussion or debate on this one? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Next up is item 9.1.2. In this matter, we are considering a consent here, I think, and we'll call on Mr. Garland to speak to this one as well. Mr. Garland.
Thank you, Mayor Kasenberg and members of North Perth Council. This is my last presentation for this evening. So this is a surplus farm dwelling consent application. So this will be similar to the rezoning request, but this is for the consent application to establish the conditions. The consent application is B12-2025 2025. The owners are Paul and Esther Snyder, and the applicant is Spruce Cove Farm Limited. The location is Lot 26, Concession 6, Elma Ward, Municipality of North Perth, and the address is 7481 Road 154. It's very similar pictures to the exact ones I showed. However, this is now the outline of the proposed severed and retained lots. They are requesting to sell the agricultural lands to a partnership they have with their sons. This is part of the farm succession and transition planning that they're going through. My understanding is the intent that they intend to live there still and maintain that on the properties. So that's the requested consideration, and that's why the severed and retained lands are just flipped around in this consideration. Just an outline of the proposed severed and retained lands. The proposed severed lands are approximately 40.1 hectares or 99 acres. The lands to be retained and considered are 0.8 hectares or 1.97 acres. They do have the house and a shed as well as a septic system on the house, 2 sheds and a septic system on the property. So all the services are maintained within that parcel that they're considering. For council's consideration, there is a request to rezone, which was previously considered at the initial part of the council meeting. The requested purchasers are Spruce Cove Farm Limited. They own another parcel and a farm where they habitate, where they live at 6149, line 75, so just west of Atwood, along a monument there. So just outside of town, but they're proposing to retain this parcel of land and farm it and continue to farm it as part of that operation and transition. Just for council's note again, also no comments or concerns have been expressed by any of the neighbors or agencies on this application. Staff are supportive of, just for council's consideration, staff are supportive of the application, along with the typical conditions, including the transfer of sale agreement that has to be included as part of that. Therefore, staff are recommending to North Perth Council support the application and recommend to Perth County to approve consent application B12 2025. I'm happy to address or answer any questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Garland. Questions, first comments from anyone? This one sounds like a vitamin, B12. Yeah, I thought the number was interesting. There you go.
Keeps you awake, I don't know. Yeah.
All right. I have a resolution then for our consideration as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth recommends that the Perth County Land Division Committee or its designate approve consent application B12-2025, and that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth forwards the list of forwards the conditions listed in the staff report dated May 26, 2025, affecting the property legally described as Lot 26, Concession 6, Elma Ward, North Perth, 7481, Road 154, to the Perth County Land Division Committee or its designate. Moved by Councillor Rothwell, seconded by Councillor Richardson. Thank you. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. Are we missing someone? There we go. All right. And with that, that is carried. Again, Mr. Garland, thank you for all of your work. We appreciate that. All right, let's turn to item 10 on our agenda. Does any member of council wish to ask for a report from staff or from a committee? I'm seeing no expression of intent there. For item 11, we have received 3 items of correspondence beyond those already shared for council's disposition. For item 11.1, we have a request to close roads to support the Listowel 150th anniversary and homecoming celebrations in August. The resolution is as follows. The Council of the Municipality of North Perth approves a request from the Listowel 150th Anniversary Steering Committee to close the following road from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. on August 2nd, 2025. Royal Street from Elizabeth Street East to Davidson Avenue North and Elwood Smith Lane from Royal Street to Derry Street. And that North Perth Fire, Public Works, OPP, and Perth County EMS be advised of the event. Moved by Councillor Richardson, seconded by Councillor Nordham. Any discussion or debate? Let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. For item 11.2, we have a request to close a road to support an event being organized by the Listowel District Secondary School related to the Cultural Unity Festival. I think this is new. The resolution is as follows. The Council of the Municipality of North Perth approves a request from Listowel District Secondary School to close the following road from 3:45 p.m. to 7 p.m. on May 28th, 2025. Maitland Avenue South from Main Street East to Clayton Street East, and that North Perth Fire, Public Works, OPP, and Perth County EMS will be advised of the event. Moved by Councillor Blazek, seconded by Councillor Rothwell. Any discussion or debate? Councillor Duncan.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Not directly in relation to this request, but we see quite a few of these requests. I'm wondering if we should, as a council, look into a policy that allows us to delegate this authority to staff.
Let me turn to Clerk Carter. Looks like former clerk, recently former clerk Klein wanted to jump in there, but let's turn to Clerk Carter first.
Through you, Mayor Kiesenberg, staff are working on a delegated authority bylaw that will be presented to council hopefully shortly. And this will include that as a delegated authority.
Thank you. It makes so much sense. Thank you. All right. We had this duly moved and seconded, right? I wasn't too easily distracted there, I hope. All right. Any further discussion or debate? Let's have the vote. And that is carried. Thank you. And then let's turn to item 11.3. Note that Councillor Andreessen has left the council chambers pursuant to her declaration earlier of pecuniary interest. For item 11.3, we have a request to provide exemptions to the municipality's noise bylaw from the Listowel Agricultural Society related to the 2025 Listowel Fair and pertaining to the time period of the fair. The resolution as follows: that the Council of the Municipality of North Perth provides an exemption to any timing regulations stipulated by the noise bylaw for all events as part of the 2025 Listowel Fair, Thursday, July 17th to Sunday, July 20th, as requested by the Listowel Agricultural Society, and that staff be directed to advise relevant parties of this exemption. Moved by Councillor Johnston, thank you. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Kellum. Thank you. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's bring Councillor Andreessen back in if we can. Other duties as assigned. Indeed. All right, at this point, we turn to consideration of bylaws that have been recommended to us. Tonight, we have 6 bylaws for our consideration. The enabling resolution outlines for each bylaw their number and purpose, and they were available in our package. Before I read the resolution for passing these bylaws, does any councillor wish to extract one or more of them for a more fulsome consideration or an individual recorded vote? Okay, not seeing it, so let's read the resolution. The following bylaws are hereby passed. 52-2025 being a bylaw to authorize a signing of an agreement with 1984686 Ontario Inc. 53-2025 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 6-ZB-1999 as amended. 54-2025 being a bylaw to appoint a building inspector, zoning administrator, bylaw enforcement officer, property standards officer, plumbing inspector, and sewage system inspector. 55-2025 being a bylaw to authorize the signing of a lease with Victim Services here on Perth. 56-2025 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 6-ZB-1999 as amended. And 57-2025 being a bylaw to exempt from part lot control lot 29 and part lot 30, plan 44M27, 44R 4801, part 1 through 6. Listowel Ward in the municipality of North Perth. Lots of numbers there. Councillor Duncan, thank you for that service of moving this. Can I get a second here? Seconded by Councillor Nordham. Thank you. Any discussion or debate on any of these? All right, let's have that vote. Eesh. Councillor Nordum records a manual in favor vote. And we have bartering happening at the council table around electricity. Okay, and with that, that is carried. Thank you, colleagues. That brings us to the next item on our agenda. Does any councillor wish leave to give notice of motion for our next meeting or a future meeting? I am not seeing any indication of that. That brings us to item 14 on our agenda. For item 14, are there any announcements that would be of benefit to our community or that reflect well on North Perth at this time? Anyone? Councillor Johnston.
Just a quick one. June 1st is World Milk Day, and the ranch is helping celebrate World Milk Day by giving away a calf. And we are hosting at Mapleview Farms an open house where the calf is housed, and it will be given away. And on Sunday, we will be giving away ice cream, milk, and cheese in conjunction with the Ranch for World Milk Day. Sunday, 11 to 4.
Sunday, 11 to 4. It's a good farm to be at, especially since there are some treats. There we go. Free ice cream. All right, anyone else with an announcement? Okay, I'm not seeing any indication of that. That brings us to agenda item 15. We have no matters for consideration in a closed session meeting of council tonight. That means that we can skip past 16. There's nothing to report from a closed session that didn't happen. Council, note that Councillor Andreessen is leaving to the clerk. As a mandated good practice, we act near the end of our meeting to confirm all of our actions and business of our meeting through what is called the confirmatory bylaw. And I have the enabling resolution for that tonight as follows. Bylaw 58-2025, the bylaw to confirm generally previous actions of the Council of the Municipality of North Perth is hereby passed. Can I call for a mover? Councillor Richardson, thank you. Councillor Johnston as our seconder. Any discussion or debate? Seeing none, let's have that vote. Councillor Nordum records a manual in favor vote. And that is carried. Thank you. Let's bring Councillor Andreessen in. I will share, colleagues, that for the bylaws that touch on provincial priorities considered and passed at tonight's meeting, I am in support of all of them and will not register any intention towards a veto. This information is provided to the clerk as part of my required duties as mayor. Councillors, we have completed deliberation and taken action on the business that's come before us tonight. It is thus appropriate for us to consider adjournment. I have a motion to that effect as follows. The council meeting adjourns at 8:11 p.m. to meet again for general council business on Monday, June 9th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Call for a mover. Councillor Rothwell and Councillor Richardson. It's the R troop. Not debatable. Let's have the vote. And Councillor Bureau records a manual in favor vote. And with that, we are carrying that motion. Our next regular council meeting is Monday, June 9th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Until our next meeting, this council is adjourned.